What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to After Further Review, episode number 1. We did do an episode 0, which is why I said welcome back, but you just didn't see episode 0 because that was like a dry run for us to do this show. But anyway, I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your other co-host, wonderful Shaquille Brown.
Yes, and together we make up After Further Review. So this is a show that the two of us are going to be doing once a week live here on YouTube. The day of the week will probably always be different, at least for a little while. But nonetheless, if you hit subscribe, you can get notified every time we're live anyway. So the show will just be a video version as of right now. So if you want just the audio version, wait until like episode 2 or 3, and then we'll probably be technically advanced enough to offer that. Sorry, people, it's just a two-man team. But anyway, it'll be right here on Melheim's Media YouTube channel. So if you want to catch the replay, as soon as we're done going live, it'll be right here. So there's that. But anyway, this show is going to be just talking about NBA and NFL. Since basketball is coming to an end soon, this will primarily just be a big football show. So if you don't like football, well, you probably won't watch this show. So, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about Week 3 in the NFL. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff going on with the Clippers. We're also going to be talking about just the current state of the NBA playoffs. And well, that's about it. So we're going to get right into it. Just a note, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals is going on right now. So depending on the outcome of that, we'll see what happens. Just keep that in mind. But anyway, yeah, so we're just going to hop right into it with the Week 3 predictions for the NFL. Now, keep in mind, Shaq and I are NFL aficionados.
True professionals.
Exactly. Fox Sports, ESPN, Bleacher Report. We have our sources. They have theirs, so...
Of course, source is the best, most reliable, so just keep track.
Exactly. I mean, you tell us who's right, so...
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're going to open it right up. We're not going to go through every last game that's on the schedule this week because you guys really won't be watching this show then. So we're going to start off with Vegas at New England. I am a big Boston fan, so the Patriots and Celtics are my two most favorite teams on planet Earth. We are 1-1 right now. Should be 2-0, but that's neither here nor there.
Small details.
Right. I think there's still no fans as of right now at Gillette Stadium, so this will still be just like a neutral playing field. So I don't see us treating the Raiders the same way the Saints did, how they came out 2 nights ago on Monday Night Football and just kind of fell flat. Drew Brees played like ass. Man was just all over the place. I'm not going to lie. Not looking too hot for Mr. Breeze, but it's only week 2, so
It's also getting up there in years, I feel like.
Yes. To me, I'm seeing a lot of arm. Like, it just looked like he was having issues throwing the ball. Like, he was... like, every throw. Like,
It's actual effort now.
yeah, which is weird to see, because that was the first time I was like,
So,
yeah. So... I don't know. I'm hoping it's just maybe a week 2 thing. It's kind of like preseason maybe for a lot of these dudes still, but we'll find out. But, yeah, I don't see our defense especially not letting the Raiders just Derek Carr threw a party on New Orleans.
Ridiculous.
Right. I mean, they let Derek Carr look like an MVP. So I don't see our defense letting that go. As far as the offense goes, I hope that our coaching staff lets Cam play more like he did in the second half of the Seattle game, where he just got to throw the ball like crazy instead of just run. So I think that will actually happen, because that should have been a pretty good example of, like, hey, Cam can play like that. Like, he can still throw the ball down the field, and Julian Edelman can still get to where he needs to be and make those big catches. So I think we're going to pull out the win. Am I biased? Obviously I'm biased, but I have final score: Patriots 31, Raiders 21. What's your prediction for this one, Shaq?
I mean, I feel like it's going to be like one of those closer games. I feel like the Raiders are going to try and keep themselves in the game for some odd reason. Something's going to happen. I feel like it being a field goal.
Oof.
Can't exactly give you a point in the score, but I see a field goal separating these two teams. I see Patriots winning it, but the Raiders making a close competition for them. They're gonna come off of a win. They're gonna be hyped. They're gonna think everything's good, so they can be playing like that.
Yeah, that is a common theme in, especially in the NFL, that teams will teams that aren't used to winning will come out and then be like, I don't know,
We're on top of the world, top of that.
right. That's pretty common. So we both have the Patriots winning that one. Shaq has it more dramatic fashion, but anyway, we're gonna move on to Shaq's game right off the bat. Houston at Pittsburgh. Shaq is the resident Steelers fan. I'll let you go on this one.
I absolutely want the Steelers to blow out the Texans, but knowing how the Steelers are, we like to play down to whatever team we're playing, so we're going to make this a close game up until fourth quarter, and then Roethlisberger's going to pull off some magical play, and we're going to win by a touchdown. But we like to keep Steelers fans at the end of the season. So I give Steelers up by a touchdown on this one. Give us that 3-0 positivity that we need, as long as everyone stays healthy and good. Juju and Roethlisberger stay on the same page. We're good. 3-0.
Yeah, you guys are rolling right now.
Yeah.
The Texans are not rolling. They have not won a game yet.
Yes.
And I don't see that changing this week. I'm sorry with the Texans. I feel like they're going to have a pretty bad year, and they're not. I just don't see them winning this game, which is kind of unfortunate because Deshaun Watson, I love me some Deshaun Watson, but they kind of did him dirty this year, so it is what it is. But yeah, I don't see them winning this game. I don't really see it being too. I think like the first half will probably be pretty close. Then I think like the Steelers will kind of be like wake up and then start pulling ahead in the second half. So my final score for this is 28-17 Steelers. So yeah, we both have Steelers again in that one. Yeah, so then next game, Dallas at Seattle. To me, this is very easy. The Dallas Cowboys are not winning this game. Let's just keep it real, keep it 100%. I'm sorry, but Russell Wilson is, to me, if I had to pick MVP right now, Russell Wilson is the MVP as we currently speak. Yes, it's only week 2. I know that, people. But the Cowboys should be 0-2 right now. If we all are just honest with ourselves, they should not have a win on the record right now. That was one of the most embarrassing things in the world I saw last week. The Falcons should be, once again, ashamed of themselves. The city of Atlanta needs to kick that team right up out of there, including their head coach should not even have the audacity to fly back to Atlanta. They should have made him take his own damn cars. Like, you ain't flying with us. Right. That was just atrocious. Atrocious. You thought an 11-year-old was playing Madden on the sideline. Like, damn. Anyway, the Cowboys aren't winning this game. They're not the Falcons. It's not even going to be close. I think they're going to get their ass beat, and they're going to come down from that high hill that they're on. My final score is 35-17. And that last 7 points, it should be 35-10. The last 7 will come in garbage time when nobody cares. So, yeah, that's my prediction.
I definitely see Seattle winning this. Something about Russell and DK Metcalf. Yeah. Wonderful magical duo. I consider it less than that. 35-7. They're just gonna go. It's gonna be some last minute touchdown when nobody's really watching the game anymore. The team isn't really playing. They're just kind of wasting time at that point. Yeah. But it's Falcons.
Yeah, right. It's
yes.
Pretty
it's
bad.
What it is. Yeah. Easy win for them.
Yeah. So moving on to Green Bay at New Orleans. That's the Sunday night game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be as close as you would think, only because of how New Orleans played last game. And Green Bay is, to me, a hell of a lot better than Las Vegas is. So I don't see this being that compelling of a game, unfortunately. I think Aaron Rodgers is, once again, going to throw another party and probably end up destroying New Orleans, because Michael Thomas, once again, doesn't sound like he's going to be playing, just from what has been said so far. Against Wednesday, so he still has a few more days, but it doesn't seem like he's going to play. But even if he did, I don't know if it'll make that much of a difference because Drew Brees has been playing like garbage. So yeah, it's not looking too good for them. I have the Saints losing 28 to 17.
In Rodgers, we trust.
Right.
We seen that man do work after work every single season.
Yeah.
Does magic. I see him also winning, even if it's close in the behind. That man can make 30 seconds look like a whole quarter to him.
Yeah.
So I definitely see that man winning by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They just can't compete. Like I said, in Rodgers, we trust.
Agreed. Yeah, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Not from what I've seen from the Saints so far. They could come out and turn things around, but so far, nah. And then last but not least, the Monday night game. This is one we've all been looking for. This was the 2019-2020 AFC Championship game until the Tennessee Titans came along. But Kansas City at Baltimore. This has to be a good game. If all the other games fail, this has to be a good game. Yes. I think it's going to be a kind of a shootout. I think the first half is going to be, this is my prediction, it's going to be a lot of Baltimore. Like Baltimore, I think is going to come out and smack them right in the mouth and like dominate the first half. I've seen them being up by like probably a 2-possession game going into halftime. Kansas City will adjust. Patrick Mahomes is going to come out in the second half, just do his thing, and then for the fourth quarter, I think it's going to be a shootout, back and forth. And I have this Patrick Mahomes doing his thing with like a minute left, taking him down the field, kicking a long field goal, and winning by 3 points. I see like 34-31 Kansas City, unfortunately. It pains me to say it.
I'm going to go the opposite direction and say Baltimore is absolutely going to do it. Something about the brother with the bridge is killing it for me. I feel like...
I hope he does.
Yeah.
I hope they do, for sure.
I think he has the best of both worlds quarterback. He reminds me of a younger... What's his face? Mike Vick. I feel like that man definitely has the arm that he can stretch the field if he wants to. But if you stress him enough, he's going to take it downfield. He's going to get 10 yards on his running. So I definitely give it to Baltimore winning this game over Kansas City. Much as I don't want them to, because of course they're in the division. I want the Steelers, but like that's what I believe is gonna happen, unfortunately. But I want them to lose. Just know that
right.
That's what I believe is gonna happen.
Yeah, do you see it being like a close one, or do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely close game. It's gonna be a high scoring game, definitely.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those. Like I compared to that Rams KC game.
Yeah, I don't remember what the final score of that was.
Ridiculous. It was like one of the second highest scoring games in history.
Or nuts.
Yeah, so I definitely see it being one of those type of games where like assisted touchdowns, field goals, scoring drives all over the place. But
I feel that. Yeah, that's gonna be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. I think we both, we picked the same all the way down to that game. So we will see for that. So those are our picks for week 3. I think that'll do it for NFL this week. Now we're going to move into switch gears, move to NBA. So some news came out either earlier today or yesterday, but so as we all know, the Clippers got bounced out of the playoffs.
Darn.
They sure did. Went down in flames. So anyway, now Kawhi and Paul George, in case you don't know, I believe are both going to be, they're still under contract until the end of next year. So this is like a contract year for both of them. So right now, obviously, the Clippers are kind of like at the mercy of what are we going to do with both of these two dudes after the performance that we just put out there this playoffs. So some anonymous source, now this is what the streets are saying. So
we into the streets.
Right. We have our ear to the streets. We're listening. So take this with a grain of salt. But an anonymous source who is thick within the confines of the Clippers organization has come out and said that Kawhi is the only untradeable player on the Clippers, which makes Paul George look like mincemeat. So with that being said, it is kind of like, well, number one, who is this coming from? But number two, do you think it's true?
I definitely think he is the most valuable person on their team at this current phase. So I don't see them actually letting go of him. That part of it I definitely see true, but does that? I don't necessarily think that the rest of the team is like mean nothing to them at that point. Definitely think they want to keep hold of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like because the other word on the street, which is kind of just obvious, but Doc Rivers is going to be fired. Like, they're going to get rid of him. He's been there for like 7 or 8 years. I think if he stays until next year, it'll probably be 8. So they'll probably end up firing him. To me, it seems like they need a scapegoat for this debacle. Like, it's either going to be Paul George, because he did not play well, which is typical of Paul George in the playoffs. Him or Doc Rivers. Like, they're like, we either need a new head coach or we're getting rid of PG-13 because one of y'all has to go.
And I feel like if they were to get rid of anybody, I feel like they should get rid of PG-13.
Right. This is why I see that happen. I think that statement was very true. I think it came from a player. I just don't see like a coach saying something like that. It seems like a player
out of frustration.
Yeah, talking to like a reporter off record or something, and he's like, "Man, well, to be honest, they said Kawhi is the only person that can't be traded. The rest of us, they said fuck us." But
yeah,
that's right.
But in all reality, Kawhi was really happy during playoffs. So.
I mean, it's the truth.
Yes.
I could honestly see. I'm fully expecting that this offseason, which is going to be very odd on how that plays out because of the bubble and all of that. I see Paul George being traded again, which would be like 2 seasons in a row of him being traded. Where he goes, I have no idea because it's a really odd offseason as far as like who's kind of up for grabs and who's not. So I don't know, but I don't see them hanging on to him, especially because it will be a contract year, and they just saw how he played in this postseason. So is he going to do the same thing next season?
Probably.
If history has taught us anything. And then they're kind of stuck with him because it's like, well, they could get something pretty nice for him right now, but if they wait and his value goes down even less, it's like we could have gotten rid of him. So I think they're going to say, okay, Doc, we like you. We'll keep you PG-13. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. Like, he's came out and said, like, he was struggling with some mental health stuff because of the bubble, so that's affected his play. Makes sense. But if it wasn't a bubble, would it have been any different? History has shown us. There was no bubble in OKC. There's no bubble in Indiana. So I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Same shit if you're dead.
My question is, who do you think on the Clippers, if you had to take a wild guess, who do you think would have said that? I think I don't know, because people have said like apparently he got into like a couple arguments with other teammates after they got bounced out. I see it being like either Patrick Beverly seems like he'd be somebody who would start some shit, or I wouldn't say Lou Will. He seems too like. He doesn't seem to care.
I'm 100% putting on Beverly.
Yeah.
That man seems like the type of person that sits down like, between me and you.
He's like, once he was frustrated after a loss, he was probably just talking, and I could absolutely see it. Funny thing about the Clippers, before this whole season started, they were like, to me, like the most low-key team, like, drama that'd be the last team I would expect any drama out of, because they were all just like, Kawhi is really quiet, Paul George is usually pretty quiet, Patrick Beverly isn't, but like Lou Will, all those guys seem like they're just not into that. Like the Lakers is a drama machine, but Clippers has been just drama at least the second half of the season, which is just crazy to me. I would have never expected it to go that way, but
I feel like that's what separates it though. The Lakers, I feel like they don't leak stuff like that because they all vent their emotions so openly because they're local people. I think because they're quiet, they finally blew up and finally somebody broke. It's like, look, I'm frustrated, I'm tired of it, so that's
that is. I didn't even think about it that way. The Lakers, they're gonna put everything on display.
Yeah, like as they feel it, like directly after a loss, they're telling you, hey, play like crap tonight.
Yeah, that's very like Clippers a complete opposite, where it's like everything's fine, we're all just having a good time, and then once everything went to shit, and then they're like,
and they realize their season's basically. Get it to be over. Everyone's suddenly got an opinion they're trying to say.
Because they were like when once they came into the bubble, because before, I don't know, they seemed like they were playing really well, but once they came into the bubble, you had the thing with Lou Will, you had somebody else was like not Montrezl Harrell wasn't there either, so there was like a few players that weren't even there yet, and they just looked like a different team. Like they didn't seem to want to be there, and then there was the boycott thing, where them and the Lakers like walked out and like they were done, and the Lakers came back and are still playing really well. To me, mentally, the Clippers never came back. Like when they walked out, their minds walked out, and that was that. Because the whole time after that, they never seemed like they actually wanted to play.
I'm actually cared.
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly, there's a lot of
Things going on that we don't know about.
yeah, right. So I would love to know more. Come down the road if somebody that same source decides to give some more information.
But we shall see.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna take a break real quick before we get into the playoff situation currently, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. So yeah, we'll be right back. And we're back. Thanks for that short commercial break. By episode 5, that break will be commercials because we got bills to
Yeah, yep.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're going to wrap this up with the current state of the NBA playoffs. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the Celtics and Heat are on right now. Let's get a quick score update going. Yeah, so the Nuggets and Lakers played game 3 last night because the Nuggets made it 2-1. Let's start with yikes. It's 53-62 Heat right now. Third quarter.
Lakers and Nuggets,
Yeah, let's start with the Lakers and Nuggets. Yeah. Do you have any opening thoughts?
I say Lakers win the rest of the series.
You don't think they're gonna lose a game?
I think they blow the rest of the series and they're winning it 4-1 at the end of the series.
Damn.
I think LeBron, for entertainment value, likes to give people hope. Like how Nuggets fans are like, chance. No. Lakers have this on full control, I feel like, and they will win the rest of this series.
You don't think Joker? No Jamal Murray?
No, I really think LeBron and Davis will shut the rest of the series out.
Damn, Shaq has absolutely. If you're a Denver fan,
I don't give a shit. Absolutely, Lakers the rest of this.
No love.
You can't tell me the power. It's like a powerhouse team, man. Just two of them is honestly just a powerhouse team alone. Not counting the rest.
Yeah,
of the
I mean, I see it going 6. I see Lakers will win next game, Denver will win the next one, and then he will close out in 6. Yeah, if this was any other team, I would agree with Shaq probably totally. But because it's the Nuggets, and this is kind of like what they seem to do best, is use those first couple games to kind of figure it out, and then they're like, all right, we got this. Because it wasn't like they got blown out in the first 2 games. Like the Lakers could easily be down. It flip-flop. Like they could be down 2-1 right now if things hadn't turned out the way they did. But I think the Nuggets can hang with them for sure. Tomorrow night, I do see the Lakers winning because they just came out flat last night, which was not odd because that always seems to happen. Teams up 2-0, and then they just like, we don't have to play tonight. We can just take the night off. If we lose, hey, we're still up, which is like stupid to play that way.
Why not just go hard the whole series?
Right, 4 games in a row. If you could just give it everything.
I feel like you do that better. That leads you better for the next series because that means you probably have a longer break.
Right.
For the games.
Yeah, but to each his own. But and then last night, I mean, they were getting crushed because we were playing a game that I'm too embarrassed to mention on this show. But at the same time, I was watching the Lakers and Nuggets game, and Nuggets were up by like 20 points at one point. But it's the bubble, and it's odd like that, and every team is down by 20 points seems to always come back. So in the fourth quarter, like playoff Rondo kicked in, and he was like forcing all these turnovers and moving the ball around, and the Heat were on some like ridiculous run, or the Lakers were on some ridiculous run, and and I think at one point it was like the Lakers either tied it or they were down by 1. And then Jamal Murray just did his thing, man. He was unbelievable, like making all kinds of passes. He hit a couple late game threes, so we were just pulling up. Like that dude is crazy good. And he has whatever it is, man. Like every single series, like the Utah series, the Clippers series, or those first couple of games, it just seems like he's trying to just figure it out. But then he like learns what the defense is giving him, and then he just lights them up for the rest of the series. So I think that the Lakers, not that they're going to lose the series, but I think that they're in for a longer series because it seems like a lot of people underrate the Nuggets. I see it going 6 games. But the Lakers, it's LeBron. I can't bet against that man. I'm not a fan of LeBron, but he's just too good. The Nuggets are not going to beat LeBron James.
I feel like I'm more of a LeBron fan. I feel like it's just fun to watch LeBron play.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that whether you hate LeBron or not, you don't tune in
To
big
watch him
games
play, yeah.
for watch him play because that man makes it a show.
Right.
Especially when the whole game is online or like series is on the line, you can't
Mhm.
tell me that man doesn't flip the switch on you and isn't.
Yeah. I saw some crazy stat where I think he's only lost one conference final, and that was the first time he was in Cleveland. He lost to Orlando that one year that they went on that run. That's the only time he's lost a conference final.
Yes.
I would never bet against that man.
Exactly. I don't care if you hate him.
Yeah.
Like you gotta admit that man.
Right.
Is basketball at this current phase of time.
Yeah.
You know how every era of basketball you have like at least one person that like
Right.
you go from like Jordan to like Kobe and
Right.
right now I
And
feel like we're in
in
LeBron
LeBron's
era.
era, yeah.
So can't hate.
Yeah. On that same note, who do you think once LeBron is retired, do you think there's a player right now that will be the next face of the NBA, or do you think we've yet to see them?
I feel like there's still yet a player to like really emerge to that like platform yet, but I feel like if you had to like choose from a current player that's like all the predictable people, I think Giannis is very much like a person that can be like. I feel like especially this playoff has really hopefully might light a flame underneath his eyes and make him actually like.
I thought that last year, but here we are.
But here we are sitting in. But like I still think there's a player like come next season or two might actually really start dominating or like no. And I feel like that might be the person that might push LeBron into.
You think it might be Giannis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. It could be Giannis. I don't know. It's weird. He's one of those dudes where if he could just get a better jump shot, because right now, I mean, that's the formula to beating him is just make him shoot from the outside.
It's range.
Yeah, and that's how he just keeps losing. The other thing is he is in Milwaukee, so
he needs to be.
I'm
not gonna say traded or a different team, but he needs a better surrounding around him on his team.
Yeah.
This team relies too much on him doing well in
Right.
the game. Like if he does bad on that, if he has a bad night.
Yeah, because Middleton is hot and cold.
Yeah.
That's their only like really big offensive force. So it's just kind of hard to say. If anybody, it would probably be Giannis, who's currently in the league. We don't know how much longer LeBron's going to be playing for, so it's kind of hard to say. But out of the current players, probably Giannis. Like, let's say next year, whether he stays or he leaves, that it's going to depend on if he can develop a jump shot or not.
So unfortunately, back in the day, it was big men who ran the league. They didn't need a range. Just if you had a 7-footer,
right,
you're doing good. Now it's about range.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you gotta be able to shoot from at least mid range jumper, have a decent or 3-point. Think of all the big men that we now see in the league that have a decent jumper.
Yeah, that's like a necessity.
Yeah, it's like it used to be a rarity to have big men to have a jumper. Now it's like you need it in order to.
Yeah, there are really very few big guys, like dominant big guys that are purely just big men. Like
there's very few of them that just sit in paint or like rebounders.
Right.
Think of Lakers. That's a big reason Lakers are doing really well now. They got a big man that can shoot mid-range shots and even kick it out to the three if they need to.
Right.
So it makes it hard to cover.
Very true. And then moving into, I'm just check the score again. Maybe we closed in a little bit. Moving into, thank God, I love the NBA. It's great again. It's 3-point game now.
I love how this is no more.
Down by 14 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes. 2 minutes later, still down by 3. That's how that works.
Somebody's playing 2K.
Exactly. Somebody's defense like freezes up for some odd reason.
So the Boston and Miami series. Ironic, Shaq is a Miami fan. I'm a Boston fan. So here we are. The last time these two teams... Yeah, I think the last time these two teams played in the playoffs was when LeBron was there.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and when the Celtics had the big three, so it's just like crazy that it's been that long since these two teams have met. So yeah, Miami is currently up 2-1. We'll see what happens by the end of this. Any thoughts on where this series is currently at?
I say this series goes for the long haul.
Yeah.
But I do see Miami finally taking a W at the end of this.
Got you.
Saying it, but I definitely do see it. Like Miami taking.
Who do you think wins tonight?
I definitely see the Heat winning tonight.
You think okay? You think
I say Heat win tonight. Boston wins the next game, and then the Heat finally clutches the game after that.
Okay, as a Boston fan, I'm gonna pick the Celtics to win tonight because they kind of have to. Then from there, I don't know, man. It's really hard for me to say after that. I feel like at this point, like we have to win tonight. You gotta win the next game.
You guys have to win the rest of the series.
Yeah, we have to because Miami, if they go up 3, whatever, it's gonna be over. Those guys are dogs, and once they smell bloods in the water, they're gonna finish it off. They're not gonna wait around. So, yeah, I'm gonna say we just win out the rest of this. We'll see. Obviously, tonight will be a very deciding factor. Very happy that Gordon Hayward is back in the rotation because this series, like, without him, it was not going too well. But having that extra offense in the starting lineup really goes to show. A couple of notes on the Heat side. Duncan Robinson, I don't remember his first name, but his last name is Hero. Dude's ridiculous. Both of those dudes are ridiculous. Bam Adebayo is ridiculous. Goran Dragic has like a new playoff mode that he goes into, and just fucking man has gray hairs and it's balling. And then of course Jimmy Butler just does whatever is needed. Yeah, like he can have 11 points, but you'll still be like, man, that man balled out tonight because he just does whatever is needed. If it needs to be, yeah, which goes to show he's kind of like a much better version of Marcus Smart on the Celtics, but again, a much better version. But players like that I always admire because it does like whatever needs to be done, they'll just do it.
They don't need to be necessary. Unfortunately, they do become the star, but the mentality of I don't need to be the star of the team. I just want to get this W. I want this team to do well, so they do
exactly.
whatever it takes to do it.
Which there are other players, Paul George, that when they aren't scoring, you don't even know that they're on the floor, which is like asinine to me. But Jimmy Butler, he'll still be diving for the ball. He'll be blocking shots.
You still focus on him, and he's not scoring.
Yeah, it's very his presence is still there. He's doing his thing, one way or another.
What I'm very interested in seeing is the Lakers versus Heat championship.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough to see LeBron versus a team that he got a championship with.
That would be very, very
strange. Seen players that he's played with, won with.
Yeah.
Well, including Jimmy Butler, who wasn't there before. But like, it'll be very interesting to see. It'll make for a great people will tune in. And I hope that series goes for a long haul. I'll be very interested to see game for game.
That's the one thing. I mean, as much as I want to see Celtics Lakers, I think the more compelling series would definitely be Miami Lakers, especially because LeBron would be going up against his old coach, and then, well, yeah, I guess that would be his old coach, and then Frank Vogel used to be the coach of the Pacers. Eric Spoelstra has gone up against him before, so it would be just kind of like the old foes meeting each other again. So I agree. It would be a lot more of an entertaining series with Miami, LA, and I think that would go the distance. Although, I mean, 2 years ago when LeBron was still on the Cavs, that went to a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals between Celtics and Cavs, which was really surprising to me. And that was a lot of the same Celtic teams, so I don't know, maybe, but obviously the Cavs are not the Lakers right now. That's a lot different. So yeah. So yeah, Shaq has. We both have LA winning their series. Shaq has it in more of a convincing fashion than I do, and then Shaq obviously has the Heat. I have the Celtics on the Celtics Heat series. So yeah, that will do it. By the time next week. We should. It's 2-1, 2-1.
I feel like we should be more convinced.
Yeah.
If anything, we should. Depending if it goes my way, we should be more convinced on at least the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Nuggets way of things.
Right.
And then we should see what goes on.
Yeah. At least one of these series should be over by next week. We'll see which one it is.
At least one of these series is still to think about it a bit. God.
Yeah. So we'll see where things.
I'll either be very depressed because either one, the Heat will be very mid in the competition, and the Steelers would have lost out of to get this series. But
Yeah, there's a lot to see what happens next week. But yeah, we're gonna keep. There'll be some like technical stuff worked on with the show. We're gonna keep improving things every week.
I mean, we are not perfect individuals. We
Right.
shall always get better week by week, and I'm assuming y'all will love us by every week. So
Exactly.
Just keep watching.
A little more.
Exactly. If you think we're great now, just wait. It's
Exactly.
better.
This is episode 1,
Yeah.
people. And can you imagine 2?
2? Shit, by playoffs. ESPN's be having us sit in front stage. Field side. Y'all sitting over here judging us. Give it time. Perfection comes with time.
Exactly. That was really well said. Next week, we might even have on our first guest.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, I won't say who that guest
A
is.
very special guest. You are waiting.
We know somebody with a really, really hot take. I know hot takes are like, kind of clickbait right now, but this is a sizzling hot take, people.
Apparently, has some inside knowledge on how hyped he is.
Yes. He's a fan of the Washington football team, but he's got a hot take, steaming hot take on another NFL team, but we'll save that for next week. So
Exactly. So tune in. You got something to look forward to, folks. That's all
Exactly.
I'm saying. Love it.
hit that subscribe button, drop a like. We'll see you next week.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your dog, goldfish, cat. I don't care who you tell, but
Tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
Come holla at your boys.